Good afternoon, as it is for both of us in our two different countries. I'm here in London, and I have with me here today Kresimir Kucko, who is the CEO of Gulf Air, based in Bahrain, and a billion-dollar business with over 3,000 employees. Now, thanks very much, Kresimir, for joining us today in our Leaders in Crisis talks. So what I'd like to do is start off by saying, Kresimir, how are you coping in the current crisis?
Well, Gulf Air, as all the airlines in the world, are facing the challenges with this COVID-19 situation. We, of course, our operations are deeply affected. Most of the aircrafts are on the ground, but we still manage to continue with flights. We keep certain routes to Europe and to the Far East during the whole period of this outbreak. It's, of course, we keep our flagship route, which is London. We keep Paris and Frankfurt. We keep Manila. Recently, we include also Pakistan. And we are basically waiting for the NOTAMs on different civil aviation authorities to include more destinations in our network. Of course, by that we were doing as well some cargo flights, some repatriation flights, and charter flights for different countries.
Yeah. But you've been through crises, not quite like this, but crises in the past, recession-related or specific critical turnaround situations. What's your take on this particular crisis and the extent of the challenge that it's presenting with us?
Well, this is indeed the global crisis that's facing the entire world, and it is really, we are living in unprecedented times. This is something that not affects only businesses, it affects people's health, humanity in general. And well, I mean, what for us, passenger numbers and flights operations are at the minimum. There is never a situation like this. As I said before, airports are closed, whole countries are basically closed, and that never happens before. We did still maintain, of course, a certain level of our services, and we are playing now more, let's say, social responsible role by also helping the kingdom of fighting the crisis by bringing the medical supplies. So we first time in our history we using the cabin also for limited transport of cargo, putting on seats, using overhead bins. So this is the things that, like in every crisis, requires different responses. So I believe in this case we also responded, given the circumstances, quite adequately.
Going forward, there will be, reflectively, an intense focus on every leader's actions and how they prioritise during this particular crisis. What are your current priorities?
Well, current priorities is always is the well-being, the health of our employees and of our passengers, and by showing this in everyday life, our care. Of course, we do different sets of measures. When it comes to our employees, we introduce work from home, so we enhance our IT department, enhance the different technologies, upgrades of the systems, of the computers, laptops, so that people can respond in a requested manner on a level that is requested of the certain jobs. We, of course, provide regular sanitizing of the headquarter building. We remove, fingerprint identification by the entrance. We measure the temperature. We also organized testing for all employees in our headquarter building in a cooperation with the Ministry of Health. So we also provide the masks and the gloves for entire headquarter staff whenever that is needed. For our passengers, of course, we launch campaigns to waive changing fees of the ticket, which is kind of easy measure. Of course, we want to keep good relations with our passengers. We want our passengers to recognize the efforts from our side as well. We launch also on our gulfair.com page different news bulletins, basically where we update our passengers with all the news regarding restrictions, health safety measures, all kinds of updates related to the current situations. We have our golden principles, which basically describes our advices, I would say, to the passengers how to behave, how to deal with the crisis from the moment when they think about the travel to the moment they arrive back or to the final destination. Of course, the crew also is regularly updated on new health and safety practices during the flights. We did a lot of changes. We rule out all the amenities, blankets, everything that is not actually disposable. So also the catering as itself is changed dramatically. There is no newspapers and magazines. So we try to adopt and to minimize, of course, the potential damage and potential threat of infection during our flights.
Very interesting. Previously, from our conversations, we know each other quite well, and have done for many years. You've always talked about authentic leadership and bringing your whole self to work. Have you had to change or place greater emphasis on your approach or style or management style in any way in this particular situation at the moment?
Well, fundamental changes, no. I like to. I mean, the key of success in the role that I'm holding now is, of course, it's in a good team that needs to be led. It's a very tiny line you should never cross. Basically, you should never allow yourself as a CEO to micromanage, but in the same time you need to be on top of a lot of critical projects, which now, especially now, because now with this unprecedented crisis and the times and environment that you're working, basically I'm even more involved than before. It's my key role is to motivate, to take out of my colleagues and the best to deal with this situation. But the constant changes in the current airline environment, it basically make me support my team on day-to-day decision-making process more closely, basically, than before. So basically, I'm constantly looking in the ways to empower my team and to take the right decisions at all time for the benefit of the company.
And leading on from that, I mean, talking and communicating with staff a lot more, I'm sure. So how are you ensuring that you communicate, effectively with all 3,000 staff employees of Gulf Air? And how frequently are you communicating with them?
Well, we try to do as much as possible. Of course, we manage with work from home. Of course, we reduce the number of staffs coming to the headquarter building by roughly 80%. And but internal communications, nevertheless, are carrying out with all the staff on a regular basis. That includes all the safety and healthy updates, either from Ministry of Health or from the government. We pointed out the importance of social distancing, avoiding meetings in a closed spaces. All these technical solutions like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams or any other, helps a great deal. I was talking also to the some ministers. Government as well did the same, and it becomes quite efficient. Although I don't think it will ever replace the need for actual social meeting. So this is also this regular interaction and communication. It's also, it's important to maintain this close relationship between the management and the entire team. We call our workforce as a family. We always refer to our employees as a Gulf Air family, because the family culture in the region is very strong, and we try to mirror it in Gulf Air itself.
And would you say that you're more visible now, and more connected, and more engaged even with your people now than before?
With this work from home initiative, the communication with the staff is being done throughout online methods more than ever. We don't meet physically or face to face, during like the pre-COVID-19 situations. So this is missing now, and of course, by utilizing IT solutions, we try to kind of get in touch with everyone. Yeah. So I would say maybe that I'm even more visible now than before. This crisis made everyone experience and measure the effectiveness of working remotely, and I'm sure some aspects can be practiced even after post-COVID-19 situation. So, but basically the fact,
I was going to ask you that, yeah.
yeah, okay. But in a way, the fact that the Gulf Fair is a rather small and agile organization, it helps a lot. As a CEO, I have always been very close and accessible to all employees, and the information is flowing quite easily across all levels. And as a result, basically the decision-making process is quite fast, maybe faster than within competition.